You know why you're here, don't you? It's not the world that broke you. It's them. The ones you thought were yours. The ones you trusted with your back when the knives started falling. They say they cared, but when the storm hit, they were the first to run, leaving you in the mud, bleeding out, alone. And now look at you, searching for answers in the faces of the very people who'd watch you burn if it meant keeping their hands warm. Pathetic. But here's the thing. It's better this way. Oh, it's better, believe me. You don't see it yet, but I do. Standing alone isn't the curse you think it is. It's liberation. You don't owe them a damn thing, not anymore. They've shown you exactly who they are. Cowards, hiding behind fake smiles and empty promises. And here you are, questioning yourself like you're the problem, like you're the one who's broken. No, they're the broken ones, not you. They can't handle real. They can't handle raw. They can't handle someone who stands on their own 2 feet without begging for scraps of validation. But it hurts, doesn't it? I know it does. The silence, the emptiness. It feels like you're drowning in your own mind, fighting to breathe in a sea of regrets. You gave them everything. You bled for them. You tore pieces of yourself just to make them smile. And what did you get in return? A stab in the back, a hole in your chest, and the kind of pain that keeps you awake at night, staring at the ceiling, wondering where it all went wrong. Here's the ugly truth they don't tell you. It's not about being liked. It's not about fitting in. It's about survival. And survival doesn't come from holding on to dead weight. It comes from cutting the rope, letting the dead wood sink, and watching as you rise to the surface, gasping for that first breath of freedom. You're still searching for a reason, aren't you? Searching for why they left, why they chose to walk away when you needed them most. I'll tell you why. They never valued you. Not truly. They valued what you could do for them, how you made them feel, the power they felt by standing next to someone strong. But when you started to crumble, when you showed cracks in the armor, they ran. Because they're weak. And weakness runs from strength when strength starts to falter. Let me ask you something. Would you rather stand tall in your pain, own it, let it shape you into something unbreakable, or keep crawling back to those who only see you as a tool, a means to an end? I know what I'd choose. I choose the loneliness. I choose the cold, empty nights over the false warmth of their fake companionship. Because standing alone means you're standing for yourself. It means you've got nothing left to lose. And that's when you become dangerous. That's when you become free. It's time to wake up, kid. Time to see the world for what it really is. It's not a playground. It's a battlefield. And on this battlefield, it's better to walk alone than to be dragged down by those who don't have the spine to stand by your side when the bullets start flying. Better to be hated for who you are than loved for what you pretend to be. Better to be alone and true to yourself than surrounded by fakes and liars. And here's the beauty in all this. When you stand alone, you stop being afraid. You stop living for their approval, their acceptance. You start living for you. You start finding power in your own pain, strength in your own scars. And the best part? They'll come crawling back. Oh, they will. They always do. The moment they see you rising, they'll act like they never left. They'll tell you they were always there, that they believed in you all along. And that's when you laugh. That's when you realize just how pathetic they really are. Because by then, you won't need them. You'll be beyond them. And there's nothing more satisfying than watching the ones who doubted you scramble for a piece of your success, only to find the door slammed shut in their faces. So stand up, wipe those tears, stop looking for them in every shadow, every passing face. They're not worth your pain, they're not worth your loyalty. It's time to be your own damn hero, your own damn savior. Because in the end, it's better to stand alone with nothing but your pride and your scars than to walk with those who don't value you. And trust me on this, the view from the top, even when you're alone, is better than any smile they ever gave you. You're probably wondering why it happened, aren't you? Why they left when you needed them most. Why they chose to cut you down just when you were beginning to rise. I'll tell you why. Because your growth terrified them. Your strength, your potential, it was a mirror that showed them what they could never be. And people like that, oh, they hate mirrors. They'd rather shatter it into 1,000 pieces than face the truth of their own reflection. So they broke you. Or at least they thought they did. But look at you now. You're still here. Barely hanging on, sure. But you're still breathing. And as long as you're breathing, you've got a chance to turn this pain into power. You've got a chance to be something they'll never be. Resilient. They can't take that from you. They can strip away your trust, your love, your time, but they can't take your resilience unless you hand it to them on a silver platter. And that's what they're counting on, you know? They're hoping you'll fold, hoping you'll crawl back, begging for the scraps of their affection like a lost dog. They want you to believe you need them. They want you to forget that you're stronger standing alone than you ever were with them at your side. You know why I'm telling you this? Because I've seen it all before. I've been there, kid. I've walked that road. I've felt that knife twist in my back and tasted the bitterness of betrayal. But I learned something in that darkness. I learned that the only loyalty that matters is the one you owe to yourself. Everyone else, they're just passing faces. Temporary distractions in a world that's built to break you. So why waste your time trying to fit into their mold, trying to live up to their expectations? Screw that. Live for you. Stand for you. And if they can't handle it, good. Let them choke on your success. Let them drown in the silence of your absence. Because here's the secret no one tells you. When you stand alone, you become a fortress. Unshakable. Untouchable. They can try to tear you down, but they'll never get past the walls you've built. From every scar, every tear, every ounce of pain they left behind. That's your foundation now, solid as stone. And while they're out there, scrambling for the approval of the next person who'll stab them in the back, you'll be untouchable. You see, most people don't know how to be alone. They cling to anyone who gives them a moment of attention, anyone who makes them feel a little less empty inside. It's pathetic, really. They live their lives trying to fill that void with fake friendships, fake love, fake validation. And when it all falls apart, as it always does, they're left with nothing but the shattered pieces of their own delusions. But not you. No, you've tasted the darkness. You've faced the void head on. And now it's time to use it. Time to take that emptiness and turn it into a weapon. They didn't see your value, but that's their loss. They didn't see the fire burning inside you, but that's their blindness. And now you get to show them exactly what they underestimated. You get to show them what happens when you strip away the bullshit and embrace the cold, hard truth. You don't need them. You never did. They were just placeholders, temporary lessons on your path to something greater. And here's the thing about people. They only come back when it's convenient. They'll show up when they see you rising, when they see the success they never thought you could achieve. They'll act like they've been there all along, like they believed in you from the start. It's laughable, really. The same people who doubted you, who left you for dead, will be the ones begging for a piece of your glory. And that's when you know you've won. Not when you've made it, but when they start crawling back, desperate for a taste of the life you built without them. You owe them nothing. Not a smile, not a nod, not a single second of your time. Let them rot in the consequences of their choices. Let them feel the cold emptiness of the void they left you in. Because now you're the storm. Now you're the one they'll fear. They'll whisper your name in the shadows, trying to figure out how you survived, how you thrived, when they left you with nothing but scars. But you'll know the truth, won't you? You'll know that every time they turned their back, every time they walked away, they were building you. Every betrayal was another brick in the wall you built around your heart. Every lie, every broken promise, it all became fuel. It became the fire that's burning inside you now. And that fire, it's never going out. It's the kind of fire that lights up the darkest corners of the soul, that keeps burning even when everything else turns to ash. So stand up, stand alone if you have to. Stand in the ruins of everything they tried to destroy, and watch as they tremble. Watch as they realize they never stood a chance, because you're not the same person they left behind. You're stronger now, harder, sharper. And while they were busy chasing their shallow, meaningless lives, you were evolving. You were becoming something they'll never understand. You're a force of nature now, unstoppable. And it's better this way. It's better to walk alone in the storm than to hold hands with the ones who would leave you drowning the moment the waves get rough. It's better to stand alone with nothing but your pride and your pain than to be surrounded by the kind of people who'd throw you to the wolves just to save themselves. So remember this moment. Remember the silence, the emptiness. Let it burn into your memory. Because one day, when you're standing on top, they'll all look up and realize what they lost. They'll realize they threw away the one person who could have lifted them out of their own mediocrity. And by then, it'll be too late. By then, you'll be long gone, a shadow they can never catch. Better to stand alone than to walk with those who don't value you. You want to know the real joke here? It's them. The people you gave everything to. They thought they were playing you, using you, making you dance like a puppet on their strings. They thought they were the ones in control. But the truth is, they were never in control. Not for a single second. They were just fooling themselves, lost in their own delusions. They thought they could break you, shatter you like glass, but they didn't realize you're not made of glass. You're made of steel, hardened by every lie, every backstab, every time they walked away when you needed them most. They're cowards, afraid of their own shadows. They run at the first sign of trouble, like rats fleeing a sinking ship. And they expected you to sink too. They expected you to drown in your own pain, to beg for their mercy. But look at you now. You're still here, and that scares the hell out of them. They don't know how you're still standing, how you're still fighting. They don't understand that every time they left you in the dark, they were only making you stronger. The darkness became your ally, your home. While they were hiding from it, you were embracing it. You were learning to see in the dark. And now you're a ghost to them. They can't figure you out. They don't know who you are anymore because you've evolved into something they can't comprehend. You've become the person they never thought you could be. Strong, independent, untouchable. You don't fit into their little box anymore. You don't play by their rules, and that's why they're scared. That's why they whisper your name in hushed voices, wondering what happened, where it all went wrong. Let me tell you where it went wrong for them. It was the moment they underestimated you. The moment they decided you were expendable, just another pawn in their game. They thought they could discard you and move on, but now they're realizing they made a grave mistake. They discarded a diamond thinking it was a pebble. And while they're out there, lost in their shallow games, you've become something priceless. You've become your own savior. You want to know what's funny? They're the ones who need you now. They won't admit it, of course. Their pride won't let them. But deep down, they know it. They look at their lives, filled with fake friends and empty conversations, and they feel the void you left behind. They thought they could replace you, find someone better, but they've learned the hard way. There's no replacement for authenticity. There's no substitute for someone who was real, who gave a damn, who stood by them even when it hurt. And now, here you are, standing tall while they scramble in the mud, looking for someone who'll make them feel the way you did. But they won't find it. They'll keep searching, keep pretending, keep lying to themselves, while you rise higher and higher, far beyond their reach. It's poetic, really. The ones who tried to bury you are now the ones who can't find their footing. They're slipping, falling, drowning in the very pit they dug for you. But don't waste your breath hating them. They're not worth it. Hatred is a chain, a leash that keeps you tied to the past. Let it go. Let them rot in the bed they made. Your victory isn't in dragging them down. It's in rising above them, in building a life so powerful, so unshakable that their names become nothing but distant memories, whispers in the wind that no longer have any weight. Focus on you. Focus on building, on becoming. Every second you spend thinking about them is a second wasted. They've already taken enough from you, don't you think? They took your trust, your love, your time. But they can't take your future. That's yours. That's the one thing they can't touch, can't taint. It's your canvas now, your masterpiece in the making. So paint it with every color they said you couldn't use. Create something they never believed was possible. And when they see it, when they see it, they'll feel the sting of regret like 1,000 needles piercing their skin. They'll realize, too late, what they lost. They'll see the life you built, the success they thought you'd never achieve, and they'll understand that they were nothing more than stepping stones. Lessons. Obstacles you overcame on your path to greatness. But don't gloat. Don't waste your time trying to prove anything to them. Your success isn't a message to them. It's a message to you. It's a reminder of your own strength, your own resilience. It's a testament to everything you've survived, every storm you've weathered. Let your silence speak louder than any words ever could. Let your actions be your voice, your triumph, your story. Because standing alone, that's not a failure. It's a victory. It's proof that you don't need anyone's approval, anyone's validation. It's proof that you've found your own path, your own power. And that power, it's something they'll never have, something they'll never understand. It's the kind of power that comes from knowing you faced the worst and come out stronger. It's the kind of power that can't be bought, can't be faked. It's real, it's raw, it's you. So embrace it. Embrace the solitude, the silence. Let it become your fortress, your sanctuary. While they're out there, desperate for a glimpse of your light, you'll be sitting on the throne you built with your own hands. And when they finally look up, when they see you standing there, untouchable, they'll realize they never broke you. They only set you free. Better to stand alone than to walk with those who don't value you. Because standing alone, that's where you find your true strength. That's where you discover who you really are. And you, my friend, you're a warrior, you're a survivor, and nothing they say, nothing they do can ever change that. You know what your problem is? You've been playing their game for too long, letting them dictate the rules, letting them decide your worth. It's a sick joke, really. They're the ones who are lost, the ones who can't stand on their own, and yet they've got you convinced that you're the one who needs fixing. They make you feel like you're the broken one because it's easier for them to pretend they've got it all together. It's easier for them to project their flaws onto you than to face their own damn reflection. But let's get real here. Deep down, you've always known you don't fit into their world. You've got too much fire, too much chaos running through your veins. You're not like them. You're not satisfied with the shallow, empty bullshit they cling to. You're not content with fake smiles and hollow conversations. You want something real, something raw, something that doesn't crumble the moment the storm hits. And that's why they pushed you away. That's why they couldn't handle you. You're a threat to their fragile little reality. You remind them of everything they're afraid of: pain, truth, vulnerability. They want to live in a world where everything is neat and tidy, where everyone wears masks and pretends to be happy. But you see right through that. You see the cracks in the facade, the rot beneath the surface. You see them for what they really are: scared, weak, and desperate to hide it. So they rejected you. They abandoned you. They made you feel like you were the problem. But let me tell you something. It's not a curse to see the world for what it really is. It's a gift. It's painful, sure, but it's real. And I'd rather feel every ounce of that pain than live a lie, wouldn't you? Because here's the thing. Pain is power. It's the sharpest blade you'll ever hold. It cuts deep, but it also carves out the parts of you that no longer serve you. It forces you to face yourself, to confront your own demons. And once you've done that, once you've stared into the abyss and found yourself staring back, there's nothing left to fear. Not them, not their opinions, not their rejection. You've been down in the dirt, haven't you? You've tasted the bitterness of betrayal, felt the sting of loneliness like a cold knife twisting in your gut. You've cried yourself to sleep, wondering why you weren't enough, why they couldn't see your worth. But it's time to wake up. It's time to realize that their blindness doesn't diminish your value. It never did. They were just too small to see the bigger picture, too wrapped up in their own petty insecurities to recognize the warrior standing right in front of them. And that's what you are, a warrior. You don't need a pack to hunt. You don't need their approval to validate your existence. You're stronger on your own, sharper when you're not weighed down by their dead weight. Because when you walk alone, every step is yours. Every victory is yours. You don't have to share it with anyone who didn't bleed for it. Think about it. When you're standing at the top, when you've climbed your way out of this pit they left you in, who's going to be there? Not them. They won't be able to look you in the eye, because your very presence will be a reminder of everything they couldn't break, everything they failed to destroy. They'll smile, sure. They'll act like they're proud, like they always believed in you. But you'll know the truth. You'll see the fear in their eyes, the regret they'll never admit to. You've got a choice now. You can keep living in the shadow of their lies. Keep letting their words haunt you like ghosts in the dark. Or you can burn it all down. You can light a fire so bright it blinds anyone who ever doubted you. You can rise from these ashes, sharper, harder, and colder than you've ever been. Because this world doesn't need another follower, another puppet dancing on strings. It needs someone who isn't afraid to stand alone, someone who can look the darkness in the eye and laugh. It's funny, isn't it? The people who said they'd never leave, the ones who promised they'd be there no matter what, they're the first to go when things get tough. They vanish like smoke in the wind, leaving you choking on the ashes of their empty words. But the joke's on them, because they didn't leave you weaker. They left you stronger. They left you with a lesson you'll never forget. In the end, the only person you can truly count on is yourself. And that's not a bad thing. That's freedom. That's power. When you stop looking for someone to save you, when you realize you're the only one who can pull yourself out of the fire, that's when you become unstoppable. That's when you become dangerous, because now you've got nothing to lose. Now you've got no fear holding you back, no chains keeping you tied down. You're free to become everything they said you couldn't be. So, let them talk. Let them whisper behind your back. Let them spread their lies. Let them think they've got you figured out. You owe them nothing. Not a glance, not an explanation, not a damn thing. You're done proving yourself to people who never deserved you in the first place. You're done begging for scraps of their affection, done bending over backwards to fit into their tiny little world. You're bigger than that. You're bigger than all of them. And one day, when they see you standing there, unshaken, unbroken, they'll realize what they lost. They'll realize they had a giant in their midst, and they chose to walk away. Better to stand alone than to walk with those who don't value you. And if you ever doubt that, just remember this moment. Remember the silence that surrounds you now. It's not emptiness. It's possibility. It's a blank canvas, a new chapter waiting to be written. And this time, you're writing it on your own terms. No more compromises, no more bending, no more breaking. This time, it's your story, your path, and there's not a single soul out there who can take that away from you. So stand tall, stand proud, let them see you. Let them know that you don't need anyone's permission to exist, to thrive, to be something extraordinary. You're a force they can't comprehend, a storm they can't control. And that's the most beautiful kind of freedom there is. And now, here we are, standing at the edge of everything they told you was impossible. You've got a decision to make, a simple choice that will define the rest of your life. You can either step back into the shadows, back into the world that never appreciated you, or you can step forward into your own light, alone, yes, but unchained, free. Because there's a power in standing alone that they'll never understand. It's the power of knowing you don't need them, that you never did. It's the power of looking at yourself in the mirror and seeing someone who survived the worst they had to offer and came out the other side, grinning like a madman in the rain. You've got scars now, reminders of every time they tried to tear you down. Wear them like armor, because they've become a part of you. They've forged something inside you that's unbreakable. Let those scars be your legacy, proof that you were strong enough to withstand the hurricane and smart enough to build a fortress in its wake. They'll look at you and see the cracks, the flaws, the imperfections. But you'll see the beauty in the chaos. You'll see the strength in the broken places. And that's the difference between you and them. You see the truth. You live in it, breathe it, thrive in it. While they run from the dark, you've learned to dance with it. So here's my last bit of advice. Don't wait for anyone. Don't look back. Don't hesitate. Don't let their voices echo in your head for one more second. The world is yours for the taking, but only if you're willing to take it alone. Better to stand tall on your own, under the weight of your own choices, than to crawl with the ones who never valued you to begin with. Better to be a lone wolf in a world full of sheep, because in the end, when it's all said and done, the strongest ones are always the ones who walk alone. And you, my friend, are the strongest of them all.